His throne, my redemption. Previous episodes are available in playlist, a link is given in the video description. Episode 4. Chapter 46. Quinn had promised to cook the meat, but then remembered there was no wood to catch fire, nor was there a knife to skin the deer. She sighed as she plopped back down against the grass, looking over at Zade who was still asleep. How nice of him to have hunted food and not carry anything to cook it. In frustration, she hissed, stumping a foot against the forest floor. If she still had her wolf, then she wouldn't have needed a knife to begin with, her claws were sharp enough. She felt disadvantaged, dependent, she could barely protect herself now, which is why she had to turn to Zade, someone she wanted to be done with. Running her hand down her face, she looked away. But as she said before, her current helpless situation was all bestowed upon her by herself. She'd been a fool, and she'd just realized it. By accepting the poison from Catherine, what had she expected? An unbreakable bond between them? A healthy mother and daughter relationship? Quinn scoffed at herself. That might have been what she'd expected, but all she got out of her foolish decisions in the end was a damage that was everlasting. She wasn't a werewolf anymore, wasn't an outstanding beta or an omega, she was but a human, and she didn't feel like she belonged in this world anymore. She'd only be degraded and disrespected, she'd be laughed at, shunned, the only place for her now was. Quinn swallowed as she squinted at Zade, her place wasn't by his side, it never was. As Catherine said, everything that made her strong had been taken away from her. She's nothing now, so why was she even moving forward? Everyone around her had told her lies that still burned her chest, why must she depend on the same people who had caused her pain? She realized it now, her place wasn't with Zade, it wasn't with another pack, it wasn't with humans. It was by herself. She didn't suit either worlds, so why live in them? She needed to create her own world, one that only included her and one where she'd always fit in despite the circumstances. Standing to her feet, she swiped her red hair behind her ears and walked off into the woods, only looking back at Zade once more. Goodbye, mate. Her heart churned as she walked away, she wanted so bad to turn around and go back, but she quickened her steps instead, destroying the mere thought of doing it. Soon her steps turned into a desperate run. She needed to go as far away as possible. Zade would wake up soon, if she wasn't careful, he would find her. So to make it harder for him, she tore her clothes, tying it in knots against slim tree limbs as diversions. She tied them in different directions, creating a mirage and hoping he'd follow them all before he ended up on the path she was truly on. Quinn then headed towards the east and then the south. She did not know where to go, but she didn't really care where she went, she just needed to find a place where nobody could find her. So she ran until the morning turned into the afternoon and the afternoon turned into the evening, and she continued to run even as sweat wet her forehead and her neck and dripped all the way down to her stomach. She took rest stops, but they all lasted for 5 minutes or less. However, when she found herself becoming weaker and hotter even though the sun wasn't shining, she knew something was wrong with her. The breeze was heavy, and it was cool, and yet she was burning up. It felt like she was in heat, but she knew she wasn't. The crave for X wasn't there, yet still, she felt like she was tied over a stove of burning coal. Her running feet came to a sudden stop, and she fell on her bum against the ground, breathing heavy and hard. She could rest, she'd run a long way, Zade wouldn't possibly be able to find her. Right? Quinn looked around, high on alert. Her throat felt dry, she was thirsty and hungry, but in her weakened state, how would she find food? Hours ago, she'd been certain that running away was the right decision, but she wasn't so sure anymore. She stayed at the Silver Moon all her life, only leaving for missions and pack duties as its Luna. At 21 years old, she never completely fended for herself before and never thought she'd have to. After all, how could she have been able to predict this future for herself? Back then, she'd thought she'd be with Gio until she died, she'd thought she'd still have a family, a sister, a father, and a mother. But right now, she neither had a mate nor a family, and just having herself to look to, was new to her. Whenever she needed advice, she'd go to Delilah or Derek, but now she had to make the hardest decisions by herself. This only meant that life would be much harder to live, especially since she'd kill her own wolf. But she'd survive. That tree she used to look up to back home wasn't completely dead, it could live, which meant Quinn could do the same. Groaning, she rolled onto her knees, wiping the sweat from her forehead as she forced herself onto her 2 feet. She then staggered forward, breathing through the pain, fighting to more than just live through it. That was until a hand grabbed onto hers, and she knew exactly whose it was. The sparks, the warmth. She twisted around with wide eyes. "How did you find me?" She twisted around with wide eyes. "How did you find me?" "What? Did you think it'd be hard?" Zade sighed, tightening his grip around her wrist. "I'd been watching you suffer for hours, forcing yourself to run as though your life depended on it. I considered letting you go, Quinn, I really did. I mean, you tried so hard to get this far, but I can't, not when you're like this." He stepped closer to her, placing his hand against her forehead. "You're burning up, I figured you were." "No, I only got tricked once by your little diversions. After that, I followed the scent that kept getting weaker and not the ones that remained stagnant. It was a sensible trick that might have worked if you could move a little faster. But in this form, you're not fast enough, Quinn." "Your struggle humbled me. I kept reminding myself that you're the same girl who killed 4 rogues in one night and left with just a single scratch, tried telling myself that you're strong and you could survive without me, that you'd be happier without me. But I can't let you go like this, Quinn." His forehead fell against her shoulder as he sucked in a shaky breath. "Stay with me for as long as it takes you to heal. You can leave when you're better, I'll search for and find the courage to let you go then, please." Quinn stood speechless in her spot, even when she felt his tears wetting her shoulder. His words weren't comforting at all, they made her helplessness even more blatant. The fact that he had to remind himself that she was strong and the fact that he felt like she couldn't live without him strained her pride. She wanted to delude herself into thinking she's still that girl, but in truth, she wasn't the girl who could kill more than just 4 rogues in one night, and she wasn't strong, at least not anymore. The thought of giving up had caged her mind, but she did not give it a proper welcome. That was because she wanted to be that girl again, the Quinn known by men far and wide, the Quinn who could steal the night before it even started. She wanted to be her again, that Quinn who could protect not only herself, but everyone else, the Quinn who never had to cry. Quinn's lips trembled as tears dripped down her cheeks, her hands tensing by her side as she tried to hold them back. This Quinn didn't know this Quinn. So weak and frail, so stupid and naive, this Quinn that was hurt and broken, this Quinn that Quinn didn't want to be. I know you might say no, I know you might not want my help, but please Quinn, I'm begging you, let me be there for you in this period of your life. I don't want you to endure all of this alone. He slid down onto his knees in front of her, his head against her thigh. I've never felt this way before, never been so vulnerable to someone else's pain, and I've never gotten down on my knees and begged anyone for anything, not even my own mother. However, I don't care how low it makes me look, I would do anything for you, for as long as I can, and right now, I want to help you. I'm begging you to let me help you. Quinn's hand trembled as she reached down to pat his bare back. Stop crying and get up. But you're crying too. She wiped beneath her eyes. I'm not anymore, so stop. I'll come with you, I'll allow you to help me, just this once. Zade's lips twitched at the corners as he stood to his feet, smiling so faintly. Thank you. No, I should be the one thanking you, I'm burning up, and was about to fall unconscious. It must be a fever and to top it off, you haven't eaten anything since this morning. We need to hurry back, your fever will only heighten without medicine, and you're probably suffering from dehydration too. Can you walk? I can, don't lie to me, Quinn. Quinn looked down at her feet, sighing. Well, I might feel a bit dizzy while walking. Then that means it'll only get worse if we run, especially if I'm in my wolf form. Get on my back, we'll walk until you feel better. No, you don't have to. Come on, Quinn. He turned his back to her, giving her no room to argue, and Quinn hesitantly got on, her hands caging his neck and her legs crossing around his thighs. Tell me if it gets worse. I'll stop. Quinn didn't want to acknowledge the way her heart kept palpitating at the care and concern in his words. This was the second time the Alpha King had gotten down on his knees in front of her, and both times, it felt the same. It made her feel like she was his equal, like he was barely a rank above her, and the fact that he was not begging for help, but begging to help her, it was astounding. His words had always been a surprise to her, they always made her speechless. You know, Quinn started. You don't have to be so nice to me, especially if it's because of pity. Zade's hands closed beneath her bum, a harmless act to keep her from falling. It's not pity, Quinn, it's love. Again, his straight-to-the-point words caught her off guard, leaving her speechless. But the silence got too loud and uncomfortable that she had to break it. Back on the meeting grounds, why did you allow them to tie you up like that? I've heard the tales of how you became Alpha King, so seeing you like that was surprising. I allowed them to do so because I didn't want to destroy your home. At least I thought so while I stood on that podium last night, but now, I regret not ripping Jeovanni's head off, I regret not murdering at least half of the people who stood there that night. I'm glad you didn't, regardless of everything, they are still my family. Silence settled between them again, but it wasn't dense, and it wasn't uncomfortable or awkward. It was all right. As Quinn looked forward at the woods, she dived back into her thoughts. She wasn't the Quinn she used to be, but she'd work towards that Quinn. She'd fix her broken self and be who she wanted to be. She'd find herself because right now, she was too lost and helpless, and too dependent. She needed her strength back, only that way she could again be able to depend solely on herself. And to do that, she really needed his help. Zade walked for minutes before Quinn told him that it was okay for him to run, and he'd questioned her condition 100 times before he changed into his wolf and allowed her on his back. He'd run, but she knew he wasn't running at full speed. In the morning, he'd hunted meat, and she'd picked up woods, lighting a fire for him to prepare it on. After they'd eaten, he'd started running again, hell-bent on getting her to his pack before her fever got worse. It took another night of running before they finally stumbled upon the border of his pack, and as they strode past the lines, men emerged from the woods, greeting him. "Alpha, we are grateful for your return." Zade strode past them, and Quinn looked around at the unfamiliarity of the land nervously. She knew she wasn't here to be his Luna, but would these people accept her either way? She hugged around herself, drowning in a sea of insecurity until Zade laid down on his belly, signalizing that she should climb down. She hesitantly did so, and as he changed forms, his people surrounded him and her. "Where is Dante? He'd been in your office the last time I got a whiff of him." "That's good, Garth. This is Quinn, she'll be staying with us from now on. Let it be known to the rest of the pack that she is to be treated with the same amount of respect they treat me with. Anything less will only cause blood spill." "Of course, Alpha. I will do as told." He wandered off, and Zade gestured the other surrounding wolves out of the way. "A rope, Cyrus. It's already on the way." Another member bowed and Zade nodded, reaching for Quinn's hand. "Come, I'll take you to the hospital before I do anything else." He dragged her away, smiling freely when that teenage girl Quinn had saved back home came into view, running excitedly towards him with a black robe in hand. "Brother! Don't tell me a rogue like you missed me, Isabella. I never said I did, I only came here hoping to see you half dead." He chuckled as she ran into his arms, hugging around him. "Just admit it, Rugrat, you missed your awful big brother." "All right, I might have missed you," she huffed, handing him the robe while looking towards Quinn. "Hey, you're the lady who saved me, aren't you? You look exactly like her, but I don't." Zade covered her mouth. "Shut that trap, I want nothing more out of it. She is indeed the lady who saved you while you were being a little bit too curious. Thank her." The girl nodded, slapping his hand away from her lips and bowing her head. "Thank you, miss, I wouldn't have been here without you." Quinn tried to smile, but she knew it came out looking awkward. "It's fine, back then that was my duty as a beta. But now you don't, Isabella," Zade warned, and her lips snapped shut immediately. "Go back for now, she's not feeling well, I was about to take her to the pack doctor." "Can I do it?" "No please, let me do it as a way of saying thanks. And then you'll ask her a dozen questions that she won't even know how to answer." "I won't, I promise." "Either way, it's a no. Thank her some other way, like staying out of her sight while she's here. Now, if you'll excuse me, Bella." He harshly shoved her out of the way, and she scoffed. That's why I specifically came here myself to see if you were dying. It's unfortunate that I didn't get to see that happening. Zade flipped her off and continued on his way, taking Quinn with him. Quinn looked back at the girl, who was still glaring at her brother's back. She's your sister, isn't she? Wasn't that a little too harsh? Zade draped the robe around his bare body. Harsh? We play way rougher. You don't know how conniving that little girl is. She deserves every pinch and smack she's gotten from me and more. That's how siblings are. Oh, it was different between her and Delilah, but then again, she doubted they were real siblings. Are you still dizzy? I'm not. Hungry? No, how about your fever, has it calmed down? I think so. Let me see. He stopped, turning towards her and pressing a hand against her forehead. It seems your temperature isn't as high as it was before. I'm glad. His words and actions gave her déjà vu. He'd done something similar the day he'd come back and asked her for a tour. The only difference was that an injured arm wasn't the subject this time. At that distant memory, Quinn felt blood rush to her cheeks and she stepped back, disconnecting his contact with her. Then can I not go to the hospital? You're going regardless, we have to make sure you're fine. He reached for her hand again, but Quinn pulled hers back, not allowing him to hold it. This all felt too familiar, she couldn't fall for it all over again. I can walk on my own. All right, follow me. Quinn followed him until they made it to the hospital. He got her checked in, tested and asked for medicine in case she was ever to fall sick again. And then he took to a room he stated was right across from his. There's warm water in the bathroom, use it. I'll ask an Omega to prepare you something to eat. As of now, I'll leave you to get some rest, I have some business to take care of anyway. Zade took confident strides to his office, his face holding not a single rush of emotions even as he shoved the door open. Earlier, he'd mind-linked Frederick and Dante to meet him here. He had a lot to tell them, and he also had orders to dish out. What's up, man? Dante started. We don't meet like this on a regular day, well unless we have a pack to take down. That we do. Which one? Did another alpha challenge or offend you? I wouldn't call it a challenge because he isn't at all in my league, but he did offend me on multiple occasions. However, I don't want him dead, I want him to suffer. Which pack? Dante repeated. The Silver Moon pack. Frederick eased off the desk he was leaning against. I thought you said you wouldn't harm that pack because of Quinn, isn't she still there? If you harm her pack, will she still agree to be our Luna? Quinn is here with me. Don't tell me, that wolfless girl Garth spoke about, it couldn't be Quinn. I knew Garth knew how to use his mouth, but isn't there anything he can keep to himself? No, he also talks about the women he likes, which is why he hardly ever regrets it now. But what happened to him? Zade looked at Dante, sighing. I honestly don't know where to start. As you know, she'd been a victim to Nephrone, turns out, the poison killed her wolf. Did you finally figure out who gave it to her? Her family, her mother, her sister, and that weak alpha with no sense of direction. Are they dead? No, I didn't harm them, Quinn did not want me to. However, Zade's eyes darkened. I will not let it go. I will destroy them, every single one of them will suffer, but I don't want to use my own hands, at least, I don't want to be the one to kill them. Quinn will only lose more trust in me. If not you, then who? What's the plan? Garth. I need Garth. Him and his sissy friends are the best at spreading rumors. I want Alpha Jake, the previous Alpha King, to know of my alliance with that pack, but I want him to believe that Quinn's sister is my mate. He's been seeking a way to get back at me. Once he knows of my weakness, he will strike, but he won't strike me, he will strike them in hopes of killing her. So only Garth and his set of Finns get to have a little fun? What about Frederick and I? I want you two to burn their farm to the very ground. Deprive them of food and let's see exactly who they'll turn to. Well, it sounds fun, I guess. Do not spill any blood, but make sure they know that I'm the one who did it. As you wish. Frederick, come on. They walked out of the office, and Zade walked around his desk, taking a seat. For everything those scoundrels had done to Quinn, they deserved this. Zade might have beaten Alpha Jake in a battle, but he knew they couldn't. His pack was full of warriors that could match up to Zade's warriors any day, and he was by far the strongest Alpha Zade had ever faced. But he was a fool, blinded by rage and far too deep in desire and revenge. He was easy to manipulate, and that's why Zade chose to use him. He'd destroy them, by the tens and the hundreds, he'd bring them to their knees, and Geo would have nowhere else to crawl to but here. But Zade would not help him even if he got down on his knees and apologized. He'd watch as they fall, and then take down Alpha Jake when he comes to retake his position, thinking that he'd weaken Zade by killing his mate. Zade would enjoy it all, and in the end, he'd still have Quinn by his side. Drawing for the papers Dante organized on his desk, he ran through them, stamping what was supposed to be stamped and disregarding those he wanted no part in. When he was halfway through, he stashed them aside and sighed. He wanted to see her, he was practically dying to see her. She was distancing herself away from him, avoiding physical contact and looking away when his stare got too intense. She didn't trust him, she was still hurt and damaged, and he understood why. The same people she'd loved and protected had taken away a part of her that was more than just important, and they didn't even regret it. Poor thing, he couldn't imagine how losing his wolf would make him feel. It was his pride, an instinctual part of him that he greatly needed. If he lost his wolf, then he wouldn't feel like himself anymore. He wondered if she felt like herself. He wondered just how bad she was suffering on the inside. Just how many mental tears she'd shed. He wanted to hold her, to kiss her and tell her that it'd be all right, but how could he do that when he didn't even know exactly how she felt? Standing to his feet, he walked to the door, flicking the light switch off before walking out. His steps took him back to the pack house, specifically, to the east wing where his mother, father, sister, Beta, and Gamma stayed. Now there was an additional member, for Quinn was there too. He walked through the entrance, stopping in front of Quinn's door. Her steady breaths, he could hear them, she was asleep. He didn't want to disturb her, so he took a step away from the door, running his hand through his hair frustratingly. Just 1 minute, he pleaded with himself. He just needed to check if she was okay. He reached for the knob, slowly twisting it unlocked and pushing the door open. The lights were off, but she shined just as bright as one. She was facing him, laid peacefully on her side with the sheets draped tightly in her hands. He closed the door behind him and then walked over to the bed, gently freeing the sheets. She didn't have a wolf now, but she was the same Quinn he fell in love with and the same Quinn he'd spend the rest of his life with. His heart throbbed as he leaned down to kiss her cheek, tucking the sheets beneath her neck before walking his way back out of her personal space. She didn't have to worry anymore, he was getting revenge on her behalf. Quinn woke up to a knock on her door, and she sat up, rubbing her eyes and clearing her throat before speaking. "Who's that?" "It's me," Zade answered. "Me and some other nuisance, but me regardless. Can I come in?" Despite being curious of whom he regarded as a nuisance, Quinn straightened up and adjusted the gown and Omega had brought her yesterday night. "Yes." The door opened, and Zade stepped in, trying but failing to close it in the face of the woman who stood out there. "Stop behaving like a stupid, Zade, I just want to see her." "Why, Mom?" "Because Isabella says she seemed very special to you. You've never brought home a decent woman before." She looked past him at Quinn with a weird smile. "Come on in, Nick, as expected, she is as pretty as Bella said." A man appeared in the doorway beside the lady. If she was his mom, then this man was definitely his father. She could see the resemblance, he only had his mother's eyes. Well, you did a good job, son. Isabella told us about her last night, we won't judge. Isabella talks a bit too much. Now that you've seen her, can you just go?" "Of course not." His mother rushed past the door, maudling her over to Quinn and grabbing onto her hands. "What's your name, sweetie? Where are you from?" I'm Quinn, originally from the Silver Moon Pack." "Oh, you are welcomed here. You're so beautiful, I'm in love with the color of your hair. I've only met one person with such a hair color, and that was a long time ago." "Thank you." Quinn forced a smile as she sat down on the bed. "If you don't mind me asking, are you dating my son?" "He won't tell me anything." Quinn looked towards Zade, but he wasn't looking at her, he was frustratingly glaring at the walls. No, we're not like that, he's just helping me. I'm in a bad situation, you see, and he offered to help." "Zade offered to help you? You really must be special then, how did you two meet?" She smiled in excitement, hazel eyes filled with expectancy, but Zade did not allow Quinn to answer. He grabbed onto his mother's shoulder, steering her off the bed and through the door. "Take her, Dad, and keep her, please. I knew she'd embarrass me." He grabbed the door, slamming it in their faces, even though his mother begged him not to. He leaned against it, sighing as their footsteps retreated. "I'm sorry about that. She's just excited, she suspects that you're my mate, which in truth, you are, but we're not really, as you said, we're not like that anymore." Quinn nodded. "I understand. But soon, we'll be like that again soon, I'll make sure of it." He leaned off the door and approached her. "How was your sleep?" "It was fine, breakfast is usually served in the canteen, but I don't think you're comfortable enough to eat in the same space as my pack yet. I'll have your breakfast delivered here, and when you're done, I'll be kind enough to give you a tour. You did the same for me once. Quinn nodded again. Okay. Your answers are short and uninterested, it's as if you don't even want to talk to me anymore. I hate it. Quinn looked away. I just don't have anything else to say. Do you hate me, Quinn? Quinn shrugged. I don't know, I mean, I hate you for what you did to me, but then, why would I agree to stay with someone I hate? That night, Zade sighed. I acted like a stupid, I know. I was angry, but I had no right to walk out after treating you like that. I broke my promise, I broke your trust, and I don't even know where to start when it comes to mending it. I want it all back, I don't care how much it takes, I already told you that I'd do anything to keep you by my side. Why? The question seemed dull, but Quinn was genuinely curious. I understood why back then, but now, it's different now, I'm different now. Why do you still want me by your side? What exactly do you want from me? I don't get it. It's not a matter of wanting you by my side, Quinn, it's a basic need, you're someone I can't live without. You ask me what I want from you? I want what we had back. I don't care how different you are, to me, you're the same Quinn I met at that party. Even though I have no wolf? Even though neither of us will be able to feel the mate bond. The bond isn't necessary, I didn't fall for you because of the bond. You've always been special, Quinn, even if we weren't mates, I believe I'd still approach you. You are the most beautiful woman I've set my eyes on, and though you seemed firm and apathetic at first, speaking to you in person proved me wrong. The way you'd blush before answering my questions amused me, you'd been so easy to tease and yet so hard to appease. It was obvious you wanted me, I was conscious of the fact that you did, yet you'd fought tooth and nail to push me aside. Then why? Why did you leave me that night? The fact that my mother tried to kill me was painful, but the fact that you left hurt me more. He took a step closer, hands digging into the mattress as he leaned towards her. I know, and I'm sorry. My anger shouldn't have influenced my judgment, but Quinn, he trailed off, eyes staring so deep past her soul. Think about it, little red, put yourself in my position. Wouldn't you have been hurt and angry if you stumbled up on your mate kissing another person? Quinn's lips trembled when she heard that nickname fall off his lips again. Little Red, that's what he used to call her. IW was in heat. Would that have mattered to you? He drew nearer, giving her no other option than to bury herself against the bedhead. Regardless of that, Quinn, would you not have been angry? Quinn held her head down, seriously thinking about it. After what Gio had done to her, if she'd stumbled upon Zade with another woman, she'd leave too, she'd have been hurt beyond measures. No, she finally answered. It would not have mattered. Then Angel, sympathize with me. I might have crossed the line, said and did things that I should have never done, but I'm sorry. My actions haunted me since the very night I left. I'd wanted to come back, but having felt like that scared for the very first time in my life, I didn't know what to do. His hand reached under her chin, lifting her head so she looked at him. Please Quinn, allow me to enter your life again, allow me to love you. Quinn bit her lip and Zade sighed. I don't want to rush this, but I'm dying to kiss you right now, to hold you. You don't know how hard holding back is. Quinn's hands clenched against the bed, her eyes snapping shut as he leaned in for a kiss she wasn't sure if she could refuse. She waited for his lips to touch hers, but before that could happen, somebody knocked on the door. Quinn jumped away from him like a frightened cat, nervously yelling, "Come in!" That Omega girl who'd brought her the nightgown as well as some other stuff last night came in with a tray in hand. "Good morning, Alpha, your mother told me to bring your food here as well." Zade groaned, slowly leaning off the bed. "That woman will forever be the death of me." "Thanks, Larna, you can put it on the bedside table and go." The Omega who Quinn now knew as Larna nodded, walking around the bed and placing the tray on the bedside table. She bowed her head before walking out, leaving Quinn and Zade alone in the room once again. Quinn didn't look at him, she made it her duty not to, instead she crawled over to the food. Which? Just take any one, Quinn." The frustration in his voice was clear, and Quinn didn't know if he was frustrated at her or at his seemingly inquisitive mother. Larna sure did pick the wrong time to walk in, damn it. Quinn didn't think so, if anything, she came in just on time, saving Quinn from making another mistake she'd regret. Picking up one of the plates from the tray as well as a fork, she placed it on the bed and then reached for one of the 2 glasses of orange juice. "For you, for me, though, she came at the right time." Zade looked at her, running his hand down his face. Those words hurt, she was expressing the fact that she didn't want him to kiss her, and it made his heart burn. "You could have kept that bit to yourself, Quinn, why? So this could happen again? You brought me here to help me, and that's not helping. Rekindling what was broken between us is not why I came here. You might want it all back, but I don't. I'm tired of getting hurt, and that's exactly what taking you back would do, hurt me." The words were harsh, but Quinn had to make it clear that whatever was between them was over now. This cycle she was a part of, this was her breaking it. She wanted to be loved too, but she wouldn't take the risk of ever trusting him again. He was right, she would have been angry and hurt if she saw him kissing another woman, but it didn't matter, he's probably better off with somebody else anyway. Digging her fork into the egg on her plate, she ignored the hurt way in which he looked at her. If only he knew she was doing this to save them both. He walked over to the bedside table, picking up the tray and walking to the door. "I'll be back in an hour or so, for the tour." And then he left. Quinn dropped the fork when he left, breathing shakily as she placed the orange juice back on the bedside table. This was so hard. There was no mate bond, and yet, it hurt so bad when his voice lowered into vulnerability a second ago. Was she doing the right thing? Was pushing away her second chance the right thing? Quinn laid down on the bed, reaching for the sheets and pulling it over her head. Goddess, what was the right thing to do? Quinn ate before brushing her teeth and taking a shower. As soon as she was fully dressed, Zade came knocking on her door as though he had timed her. As promised, he took her on a tour, and it too felt like déjà vu. He showed her sections of his pack that hers didn't have. For example, the storage room, which kept a record of the people in the pack, whether they were dead or alive. He also showed her the training grounds, and unlike the one back home, This one was layered into 3, and the pack members trained by rank. Even Omegas could train and rank up, and Quinn thought that was impressive. He showed her the celebration house, which was far bigger than Gio's, and the elders' quarters that was attached to the pack house. His office was spacious and furnished beautifully. The meeting grounds wasn't just an open piece of land with a podium on it. It was fenced with wood and had a large gate as entrance. It was pretty, everything here was so well organized. There was a huge safe house underground with a thick metal door that not even Zade could power through. It was safer than the one back at the Silver Moon Pack, which was only hidden by a wooden door and grass on top that was used as camouflage. And lastly, the canteen, which was almost as big as the pack house. This was where they stored the food they bought, cooked it and served it. After that, he'd taken her back to her room. The walk back was quiet, he didn't bring up what happened in the morning, and neither did Quinn. However, the awkwardness between them made her feel guilty. She knew he was hurt, he didn't make a single comment unless it was about the tour, and he didn't look at her much either, as if it pained him to do so. At the door to her room, all he told her was that he'd see her tonight. Quinn got out of the bed she'd been laying in for the past few hours, looking at the clock attached to the wall above the door. It was almost 7 o'clock, and all she'd done after touring the land with Zade was lay down, trying to get in touch with the wolf she'd lost. She knew it was impossible, but despite knowing that, she couldn't help but try. She'd prayed to the goddess too, begging her for help. But what could the goddess do? Resurrect the same wolf Quinn had taken for granted? If she'd wanted her wolf, she'd have protected it instead of foolishly doing what she did. The blame was on her head, and for that, she knew she didn't deserve the goddess' help or anyone else's for that matter. However, she still begged for help and begged for forgiveness because that was all that she could do. With slouched shoulders, she walked into the bathroom adjoined to the room she was in. She needed a shower, a cold shower to numb all the depressing thoughts that kept running through her head. She reached for the hem of her blouse, but before she could pull the material over her head, she heard a knock on the bedroom door. Her hands twitched as they loosened the blouse, and she walked back out of the bathroom, suddenly remembering that Zade promised to be back tonight. Her cheeks tinted red as she stood in front of the door, somehow scared to open it. What did he have to say to her? Why did he want to see her? Quinn reached for the knob, hesitantly twisting it unlocked and opening the door. Her tense body loosened when her eyes met Larna instead of Zade, but disappointment harvested within her for a reason Quinn didn't want to acknowledge. She wanted to see him, she stupidly wanted him to visit her tonight, and she didn't know why. She didn't have anything to say to him, but maybe just looking at his face would put her at ease. "Hello, you knocked." Larna bowed her head, stretching a gift bag out to her. "The Alpha King asked me to deliver this to you. I'm also here to collect the plate you ate dinner from. May I come in?" Quinn reluctantly took the gift bag from her and moved aside as she walked in, picking up the tray she'd delivered more than 2 hours ago. Quinn didn't touch the food, she had been too deep in thought to be hungry. "Thank you, Larna," Quinn said as the young Omega walked out. "You're welcome. The Alpha wants you to meet him at the canteen. He said you can take your time, he'll wait." Quinn tilted her head, but before she could ask anything, Larna walked away. "Meet him? Why would he want her to meet him at the canteen of all places? Was it because she didn't eat lunch and now dinner? Quinn closed the door, walking over to the bed to take a seat. Her eyes stared down at the gift bag for more than a minute before she opened it up, peering inside. There was a dress, green in color, Castleton green just like the one she'd worn at the celebration party. There was a box, one she was sure withheld a shoes, and along with that was a purse, a necklace, and a pair of earrings. Quinn quickly closed the bag, looking around with no particular aim. What was he? Why did he? What was all this? Was this what he meant when he said he'd see her tonight? Were they going somewhere? Was it something to do with the pack? Or perhaps there was going to be a party tonight? She wanted to ask, but there was nobody here. Larna was the only person she could ask, but Larna was gone. Quinn sighed. If he got her these, then he must have had a reason. Placing the bag down on the bed, she walked back to the bathroom, taking the shower she'd promised herself. At first, she'd thought of making it a long and freezing shower, but not anymore, she had things to do. So she made it quick, and as soon as she stepped out, she drew on an underwear and then let down her hair that was previously caught in a bun. There was a brush in the bathroom, and she used it to ease the knots in her hair and to elegantly comb it. If he gave her such a dress, then that meant she needed to look her best. Since there were limited hair utensils, she gave her hair a side part, leaving a short cornrow at the lesser side. When she deemed herself done, she reached into the bag, taking out the dress and staring at it. It was pretty, simple and yet unique. It was long, she knew it'd sway past her ankles and the shoulders would hang against her upper arms. There was a high split at only one side of the dress and a zip at the back that she knew would cost her some time to get up. She sighed, putting it on and trying her best to get the zip all the way up by herself. She did not succeed. The satin dress was a bit too tight for her to do it all on her own. Groaning, she reached into the bag for the shoes box regardless, opening up the box and taking the shoes in them out. The heels were high, but low enough for Quinn to feel comfortable in them, and they were black in color with straps that could roll multiple times around her legs. She sat on the bed, resting them by her feet and putting them on. They weren't exactly her size, they were a tad bit bigger than her feet, but they could work. Next, she put on the accessories, the earrings and the necklace before walking to the door, half opening it and peeping outside. Somebody, anybody, she needed help with this god dress. Just as she was about to give up and close it, a door opened not too far from hers. Quinn squinted her eyes, not taking too long to realize that it was Zade's mother. Why wasn't she dressed yet? Nevertheless, Quinn called out to her, not having anybody else to turn to. "Hello ma'am, can you come here for a second?" The lady looked her way and a delightful smile spread across her lips as she approached. "Oh my, darling, I'd been longing to see you again since my ruthless son kicked me out this morning. How are you doing?" Quinn smiled awkwardly. "Well, this dress, can you please help me with the zip?" She opened the door wider, showing Zade's mom what was going on. "From my knowledge, there will be some sort of celebration tonight. Zade sent me this dress and I just can't get the zip up by myself." "Oh, I'll be glad to help." She stepped inside and Quinn closed the door behind her. Turn around, sweetie, you look so beautiful. Thank you. Quinn did as told, turning her back so she could zip the dress. But if you don't mind me asking, why aren't you dressed yet? Me? Ah, I don't, I mean, I'll get dressed soon, I'm just waiting on my husband to get back. She patted Quinn's shoulder when she was done. You hurry along, the party has already started. You should go have fun. I will, thanks. Quinn grabbed the purse off the bed and walked outside with Zade's mother. I'll be on my way now, ma'am. You can call me Marcia, that's my name. She waved at Quinn, smiling at the young girl's back. She hoped this party went well, especially since her son was probably the only one attending. Quinn walked her way out of the pack house, lifting her dress with both her hands as she did so. On her way to the canteen, she saw members of Zade's pack that looked at her weirdly. But she tried to avoid the eyes that watched her, for they were only trying to find out where the very aspect that made her a werewolf was. Except for the children who were not of age, she was probably the only werewolf without a wolf. It was pride-shattering, but she knew she had to live with her mistake for the rest of her life. Pushing her hair out of her line of vision, she looked up at the canteen, still wondering why she was the only one dressed. Was she a bit too early? But that didn't make sense, Marcia said the party had already started. With a sigh, she pushed the double doors open, stepping past them and into the big, empty room. Her steps forward echoed rhythmically until another person's footsteps disrupted the harmony of hers. It was Larna and she was dressed in a beautiful white suit, the skirt breaching just above her knees. Come this way, my lady. Larna, what's going on? I'm afraid I'm not the person meant to explain that. She stretched her hand out, gesturing for Quinn to follow her, and she did so. Larna led her through the canteen and towards a door marked unrestricted. Zade hadn't told her about this door during the tour. With the slight twist of the knob, Larna pushed it open. I hope you'll enjoy the meal this time. And then she walked away. Quinn watched as she left and then looked beyond the door she'd open. The inside surprised her. It was beautiful, painted in white and red, even the light that shone from the ceiling glowed red. There was just one table situated in the center of the room, it being the only furniture here. The table was adorned with a vase filled with white and red roses, and dishes that were covered were placed on both adjacent ends, that along with a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. This all bewildered her, but what cast her into even more bewilderment was Zade, who stood beside the table, staring at her with those dark, hazel eyes. He was wearing a black suit, looking just as he did that night. His trim was fresh, giving him a more handsome look, and the slight smile on his lips was enchanting. You took longer than I thought you would, I almost thought you wouldn't come. He walked towards her, and Quinn didn't move from where she stood, she honestly felt like she couldn't. What is? Zade, what's going on? You look just as beautiful as you did back then, in a stunning green dress that could never outshine your green eyes. What's all this? Have a seat first. He raised his arm, offering it to her, and Quinn reluctantly entwined hers with his. He walked her to the table, pulling out the chair on the left for her, and Quinn sat down slowly. It was then that he took a seat in front of her, seeming calm and collective. How are you feeling? Confused, Quinn truthfully told him. But it was my mistake to have automatically thought I was attending a fancy party when you sent me this dress. What is all this, Zade? I already told you, I made it clear that there will be nothing else between us. Why are you doing this? What exactly am I doing? His hands clenched against the table, his voice coming out deep. You think you can just tell me all this and I'll just accept it? I want you to be happy, Quinn, but what I want most is for you to be happy with me. That won't happen, and you know it. We're done, it's over. I don't want to be loved by you or anyone else. I'd rather be alone for the rest of my life than to be lied to and used over and over again. I have never lied to you, Quinn, everything I told you was the truth. Like abandoning me when you told me you wouldn't. I never abandoned you. If I did, I wouldn't have come back. If I wanted us to be done back then, if I really planned to leave you forever, I would have rejected you. Then why didn't you? Because even after what happened, even while misunderstanding, I still wanted you. And now? I want you still, I'll always want you. Quinn shook her head. You shouldn't want me, I have nothing to offer neither you nor your pack. I don't want anything from you, Quinn. The only thing I'll ever expect from you is love. You don't have to worry about the pack either, everyone is happy that you're here. They are rejoicing. No, Quinn shoved her chair back, standing to her feet. I don't have anything to offer, and that includes love. I've loved enough, and all I've received in return is betrayal. I'm done trusting people. The only person on my side is myself. I'll get going, it's late and I need sleep. She started walking towards the door, but stopped when Zade started speaking again. Go ahead, Quinn, walk out on me just like you did that night. Walk away because of fear and insecurity, walk away because of your uncertainty and lack of trust, but don't walk away, not from me. Quinn's heart felt as though it was tied in a knot, it was hurting, she was hurting. I'm sorry, but I'm choosing to protect myself this time. She grabbed onto the knob, her fingers that were fumbling with the lock freezing when low music flooded melodically around the room. Heartbeat by Ho, the same song that had played the night they'd danced, the song that started all of this. I know you don't hate me, Quinn, but just like back then, you're scared, and I understand. They hurt you, I did too, but at least try to understand me like I try to understand you. She heard as his chair scraped against the floor, and then she heard his slow footsteps. You aren't the only one with insecurities. I mean, the fact that he'd been your mate before I was had been enough to be insecure about, but the fact that you still had feelings for him added to that already heavy burden. I had every right to be angry, and I still do. That night you were wrong too, and not once have you apologized for what happened. You're hurt, and I'm hurt as well, and yet, I'm trying my best to fix this. Quinn's heart pounded with every step he took towards her, and her body tensed when his arm wrapped around her waist. At least make some effort too. I never considered you to be a coward once, but that's exactly what you're becoming now. Stop running away because you're scared, be brave. Life is about taking chances, and this is a chance you don't want to miss out on. Tears filled Quinn's eyes as she let the doorknob loose. I'm not a coward, she gritted out. Then show me, Quinn, show me how brave you are. Quinn turned to face him, wiping the tears that tainted her flushed cheeks. How? Dance with me? She would have said no, but he was challenging her strength, the strength she'd lost and was now trying to feign. Okay. His arm around her waist pulled her closer, and Quinn hated how good his warmth felt. Just like back then, she felt like she belonged in this man's arms. It was as though fate was guiding her right back to him. You know what to do, Quinn, put your hands on my shoulders. Quinn's lips wobbled at those deep, familiar words, and her hands were reluctant as she placed them against his shoulders. And now, all you have to do, Angel, is follow your alpha's lead. Again, he said words she was deeply acquainted with, reenacting that night, making her feel the same way she had. The sparks that ran along her body heightened her senses, bringing her all the way back, and when he started to rock from side to side, she found it hard to breathe. Why was he doing this to her? Confusing her, making her feel things she didn't want to. Her mind was blank, or maybe it was just full of him. Her heart was pounding aimlessly, helplessly as he stared way past her soul. His eyes held everything they shouldn't: love and desperation, desire and great vulnerability. Quinn, his voice was gentle and low, violating her in more ways than it should. She felt as though he wasn't looking at just her face, but at all of her. At her emotional scars and her hidden desires that called out to him. Yes, she answered him, the word coming out broken. Why is it taking you so long to give in? Are you really not brave enough to grab a hold of this chance? Are you really going to let go of what you want? Quinn looked away, gripping his shoulders tight in slight panic. He was seeing right through her. She was like an open book to him. No, I am brave. This is just. She felt like she was suffocating all over again, felt lost as the soft music floated her way, sounding so much more meaningful than it ever had. Broken glass, but you can't see the signs. Still take my breath, when you don't realize. Just what, Quinn? Zade pulled her closer, his lips settling so close to her ears. This is just what? Is it taking you back to that time? To the night we'd met, the night we'd danced to this very song, is that it? I try to take you back. To the fires that we once set. That burned up all the hills and everything that we were, that we left. No, Zade, please, let's stop here, we're running away from the darkest moon. She tried to pull away, but he held her tighter. The song isn't finished yet, Quinn. Why are you so eager to run away again? We're praying our lungs will find us soon. Just listen to the heartbeat rushing when you hold me. Whispering that this was once our home. I'm not. Stop. Zade sighed, finally letting her go. Why are you doing this? You're only torturing yourself more by fighting this? We can work this out, we can be together, did we not promise each other forever? Just listen to the heartbeat rushing when you hold me. Quinn remained silent as her eyes watered. She wasn't thinking straight and she knew it. The music, his words, they were all swaying her in the wrong direction. And it was foolish of her to actually want to be swayed. That was, whispering that this was once our home, our home, our home. The song came to an end then, and the silence that roamed the room gripped Quinn's palpitating heart. It was a shiver racked down her spine when he gently grabbed her face, forcing her to fixate her eyes on him. Your words aren't making any sense. You don't know what to say, or perhaps you just don't want to say it. He leaned closer to her, resting his forehead against hers. I know you want to give in, I'm going to help you to give in. Before Quinn could process and understand what he meant, his lips were firmly pressed against hers, soft and warm and moist. The kiss brought back memories that Quinn wanted to bury, and it had heat climbing from her mouth all the way down to her toes. She tensed in her spot, eyes clenching shut and only opening when he pulled back. If you're not gonna push me away, Quinn, then at least kiss me back. Quinn finished his words for him, before eagerly planting her lips back against his. She remembered them word for word, he'd said them the first time he kissed her, and Quinn, she couldn't hold back anymore. Her hands grabbed onto his jacket, pulling him closer, begging for more warmth, begging for more of him. Zade kissed her deeper, pushing her against the door. She wasn't sure if this was the right thing to do, but it sure as hell felt like it. Zade pushed the door to his room shut, slamming Quinn against it before greedily taking her lips between his. They'd literally ran here, leaving behind the food Larna had prepared, for their crave was not a normal hunger. Not when they only craved each other. His hand reached behind her, eagerly zipping the dress all the way down. He wanted to tear it, but it was a gift from him to her, and he'd love to see her in it again. So, with careful hands, he pulled it off her shoulders and the thin material fell by her feet, leaving her almost bare in front of him. They felt so firm and soft in his hands, just as her lips felt against his. She was moving them aggressively, while peeling his jacket off him and clumsily unbuttoning the thin, white shirt he wore. He'd never seen her like this, so desperate and carefree, so vulnerable and needy, but seeing her like this only proved how much she'd been holding back too. Pulling away from the kiss, he panted heavily against her, and she did the same, those green eyes full of desire and want and so many emotions that called out to him. His eyes drifted down, assessing her body keenly, from the fullness of her chest down to the flatness of her stomach, and from there to the blue panty that rode just above her hips and to thighs and legs that equated to perfection. He gritted his teeth, stepping back and away from her. The pants he wore, he unbuttoned it, taking it off and moving to sit at the edge of the bed. He looked back at her then, watching the way she shifted from feet to feet and fumbled her fingers in nervousness. Come here, Quinn. Her walk towards him was awkward, her green eyes seeming more innocent than they should. Yet. Take it off. As soon as she was completely off before his eyes, she looked down at him in confusion, even as he started to speak. You're quite eager, little red. I am too, to taste you. Go ahead, angel. Zade, you don't really expect me to, why would I? Your procrastination will only kill the mood, come on, I know you want to. Quinn looked away from him and towards the white walls, burying her pride as she repositioned herself on her knees. Slowly and hesitantly, she climbed above his face. Zade, this is but what about him? His pleasure was just as important in hers, and more than herself, Quinn want to give him pleasure. A profuse amount of it, and she wanted to taste him too. Her hips came to a sudden stop, and courage bloomed in her heart as she cleared her throat. Zade, me too. At least let me taste you while you taste me. Zade released her, and she moved away from his mouth. By all means, do whatever you want, Angel. It's bound to be hot if you take the initiative. Zade, yes, Little Red. He grabbed onto her wrists, keeping her hands still. It's not even halfway in, are you sure you can manage? Quinn breathed through the pain. She knew she wasn't even close to taking him all in. She'd only breached past the head, and she felt like she couldn't go an inch more. She was so close to, perilously close to exploding. I can, she forced out. Just wait, wait. Until tomorrow? Because at the rate at which you're going, we won't be done until the sun comes out. He smirked up at her. Do you want me to come without any action? Relax, Angel, breathe. Quinn nodded. I am breathing. Are you really? His hands slid up her arms, pulling her down towards him. Do you want my help? Just a little push would do. I don't. Are you sure, my beautiful bundle of flames? Quinn glanced away from him, biting her lips. His voice tickled her ears, the very sound of it coaxing her to submit, to vulnerably give in, but she didn't want to. If he helped her, then she wouldn't feel like she accomplished anything. Tempting, but I'll do it myself. It was a wise decision but also a foolish one as well. Her unfocused green eyes searched for his as she came down from her high, finding that he was watching her, intently. That must have felt good, it did, didn't it? Quinn didn't answer, not with her mouth, her hips did all the talking. Regardless of her weak legs, she knew just where she wanted him, and she kept steering him in that direction. It seemed Zade felt it too. The way he'd groan and clench his jaws. It was a sign that Quinn didn't miss, and it heightened her pride, for she was giving him the ride of his life. She still wasn't sure if her decision to take him back was right, but he tried so hard to change her mind, to sway her. The dress, the dinner, the song, the dance, and the words of persuasion he seemed to have planned. Maybe they were all an act, lies, maybe he'd hurt her again, but his desperate eyes had gripped her heart. She couldn't look away anymore, couldn't turn her back to run. She didn't give in because he challenged her, after all, she'd already lost to him. The guard around her heart, she'd taken it down, and it was all because she wanted to. She tried to deny it, to deny wanting love and affection. She'd tried to manipulate herself into thinking she'd be happier alone. But deep down she knew it was all a lie. She wanted love, she wanted affection, specifically his love and his affection. And the only way she'd be happy was by staying at his side. The days she'd spent with him back in her bedroom, making love, talking and idling away, they were precious to her. They were days without sadness, days without worry. Being around him always made her feel light, he made her want to be vulnerable, want to be dependent, he made her desperately want to hang on to him. And that was what she was doing. Wiping the sweat from her forehead, she whined her hips, feeling him deep inside of her. She was close again, especially since his hand just now started to roam her body. Quinn's eyes rolled to the back of her head, her toes curling into the mattress. I'm gonna, faster. It's so wet, wet and slippery all for me. He licked his lips, moving his fingers in a circular motion. Come for your alpha, Little Red, let it go. Quinn threw her back as she hollered his name, her legs clamping shut against his hand as she convulsed, coming once again. Her nails scraped into the skin of his chest, the pleasure feeling everlasting and yet draining. The ache in her legs was prominent, she felt numb, she knew for a fact that she wouldn't be able to move, no matter how hard she tried. But Zade, he hasn't come yet. She looked down at him. Zade, I lost. Don't worry, you didn't lose. You indeed gave me the ride of my life, it's my turn now. This night will be long, I'm too excited to end it here. Be prepared to be sore tomorrow, you might even have trouble walking. So, let me apologize in advance, I'm sorry, Angel. Ch 58. Zade. Ah, God. Tell me that I'm your alpha, say that you won't ever leave me again, baby, tell me you love me. Quinn could barely focus on his words, but she heard them. You are, alpha, ah. Slow down, you're not making any sense, Quinn, say it so that I can understand. Reassure me, after all, you made me wait again. So tell me that this time you'll stop running away, this time, I really want you to stay by my side forever. I want you to finally want me as much as I want you, Quinn. I want you, always have, always will. Zade's movements paused, the dark in his eyes softening as he listened to her. You are my alpha, my true alpha, and I won't ever leave you again. I love you, Zade. Me too, I love you too, unconditionally, endlessly. Let's make it official, let me mark you, claim you, own you. Can I? Quinn bit her lip, glancing away from him as she nodded her head. Yeah, as long your mark won't one day turn into a brand. It won't, that's a promise I swear to the goddess I'll keep. Okay, Quinn tensed as he kissed down to her neck. Quinn held her breath, her legs clenching tighter around him as pain tore through her like a flood. Hurts, he didn't pull back even after she told him. An uncontrollable scream left her lips as heat rose within her, and more slick dripped down her walls as she convulsed unrelentingly. It felt unimaginably good. I'm happy, he told her. The happiest I've ever been. His eyes drifted towards her neck, admiring his fresh mark. It was pretty, she was pretty, and she was completely and irrevocably his now. Me too. She twisted towards him. I now feel like I was hesitating for no reason. You were. Zade reached around her waist, kissing her forehead. Your eyes are droopy, you must be tired after all that, let's get some sleep. Quinn nodded, burying her face against his broad muscular chest. I wanted to wash up first, but my legs are still shaking. Zade chuckled. Say something like that again. Words like that can get me hard any day, any time. Are you a sadist? The fact that my legs are numb and shaking shouldn't ever appease you. Oh, but it does, I thought you said you loved me, I do. Hearing that made her giddy heart flutter and flip. Me too. With that, Quinn hugged around his waist, situating herself even closer to him, greedily basking in his warmth. She felt like she belonged in his arms, she honestly felt like she could trust him. I love you, I'm hard again. Keep it to yourself, it was a blessing that he could not see how red her face was, he'd only tease her more. Go to bed, Good night, Angel. Good night, my Alpha. Quinn's deep sleep was interrupted by knocks on the door. She opened her eyes, realizing that Zade wasn't in his room, it was only her. A groan left her lips as she sat up. Who's there? It's Marcia. Can I come in for a minute? Quinn's eyes widened immediately as she looked around at the remnants of last night scattered evidently on the floor, the clothes and the shoes, everything was messy. I'm coming, give me a second. She jumped off the bed, wincing at the soreness in her core as she picked up the clothes, stuffing them beneath the sheet and buttoning on Zade's white shirt over her. It covered a little over a quart of her thighs, but it was all she could find at the moment. It felt. Quinn clenched her legs together as she walked towards the door. She felt it, his cum dripping down her walls, and it was embarrassing, especially since she was going to be facing his mother. Using one hand to hold the shirt down, and the other to open the door, she peeped out at Marcia. It's kinda messy inside, do you mind if we talk here? Oh dear, Marcia smiled, shoving the door open a little wider. I don't mind the mess, I just came to see you since my son's gone. He keeps trying to keep you away from me, you see, gotta wait until he clocks out to come in. She walked her way inside, and Quinn's cheeks reddened in complete disgrace as she closed the door. Oh okay, I don't know how to explain it. She turned to face Quinn, her expression displeasingly straight until a big grin spread across her lips. I'm so happy right now. My son, oh my God, I'm proud of him. I'm sorry I lied to you last night, but I guess everything worked out fine. No, Quinn shook her head. You didn't lie, I'm the one who didn't ask before assuming. No, I lied, and for the first time in my life I'm glad I did. Like you too, that Mark, I feel elated for both you and him. Welcome to our family, Quinn, I'm sure you'll be a great Luna. Luna. Quinn's blood ran cold instantly, her green eyes widening. I can't possibly be. Hush, I figured this much would happen. I knew you were a lost sheep since the first day I saw you. Your eyes were so cold, and yet, they held so much pain, and then that mark was on your neck, any fool could guess what happened. I thought you were some rogue Zade picked up out of the wilderness, but then Bella told us what you did for her and potentially who you were to Zade. Just as you saved my foolish and overly adventurous daughter that night, you can save our pack. We need you, you probably need us too, much more than you think you do. Then are you aware of the fact that I don't have a wolf? Quinn's fingers ran timidly over Zade's tender mark on her neck. Last night she got carried away, she had him mark her without thinking about the weight this mark would put upon her shoulder. Without a wolf, what exactly can I do for a pack of wolves? You don't need a wolf to guide us. We don't need protection, after all, in a game of chess, the queen is the most valuable player, the most powerful. That's why she doesn't protect, she is protected. The queen's only mission is to pave the way for her king to win. That's exactly why we need you, to guide him. My son, that foolish boy, she chuckled, taking a seat on the bed that Quinn was dying to tell her not to sit on. That boy had always been troubled. We grew him well, we showed him love, but he always desired more love. He wandered high and low for it, torturing himself until ice caged his heart. He became reckless, doing things I, for one, begged him not to. He claimed he had nothing to lose, and probably that's why he always won, but his victories were always a mix of sorrow and joy. He destroyed so many people because he wasn't happy, growing our pack on the soil water by their blood. Even when we were at the top, he was still anxious and sorrowful. I knew a mate was what he lacked, it was a desire he kept to himself, and now I know I wasn't wrong. This morning was the happiest I've ever seen him. His smile looked more genuine, he looked as if he'd seen a different light. He can change, only you can change him, Quinn. I don't think I have that much power over him. Think again, my child, because you do. He's gone down to the canteen, that giddy fool said you haven't been eating well, so he's getting you breakfast. He also asked me to stay away from you until you're ready to open up to other people. He basically threatened his own mother. I'm sorry about that. Marcia fanned her off. No need, he's always been like that, ever since he was a kid. Speaking of which, I bet you'd love to see the smaller version of Zade. I'll be back, let me get the album. She rushed through the door, and Quinn breathed out a breath of relief as she looked towards Zade's closet. More clothes, she needed more clothes, more than that, she needed a shower. But Marcia said she'd back and. Quinn groaned, walking over to the closet and picking out one of Zade's oversized shorts. She drew it on, shivering uncomfortably at the way his cum soaked her inner thighs. It barely hugged her waist, it rather rested loosely against her hips, but for now, it would definitely have to do. Zade smiled down at the tray in his hand as he stood before his room, but that pleasant smile disappeared when he could send out his mother and also hear her voice. He grabbed onto the knob, twisting it and pushing the door open. Mom, I told you. His mouth hung open when he found Quinn hugged against her side, both smiling down at something he neither wanted Quinn to see or hear about. Jesus Christ, Marcia, why would you show her that? Rushing inside, he placed the tray on the bedside table and tore the family album out of his mother's hand. I knew you'd be the one to embarrass me, but not to this extent. I had no front teeth back then, Mom. Oh come on, you were still cute, right Quinn? Yeah, your cheeks were so plump, you were a cute kid. Zade narrowed his eyes at Quinn. Say anything else but that, you're making this even more embarrassing. What exactly is embarrassing though? Everyone used to be a kid, and Bella's there too. You weren't showing her Bella, were you? I'm confiscating this, Quinn will never see it again. Quinn wrung her lips in a guilty manner, leaning back on her hands. I believe I already saw everything. Even when I was 16 years old and wearing a mohawk. Yes, Zade groaned. I have no reason to hide this stupid thing then. Language, Mr. Alpha, your 16-year-old sister still lives here. Marcia pointed at him and then at the book. I didn't get to show her one thing. Zade tilted his head, squinting warily at her. What didn't you show her? The picture of you and your father wearing my lipstick with bubbles in both your hairs and undistributed makeup on your faces. Isabella really is a champion, she had 2 alphas around her pinky. Thank God I took the book. You won't see it again, I'm burning it. Burn it and you'll regret it for the rest of your life. Marcia stood up, patting Quinn's shoulder. I'll see you later, sweetheart, his eyes are practically begging me to leave. Quinn nodded at her with a slight smile. I'll see you later, ma'am, I mean Marcia. Take care of our new girl, Zade. She walked past her son, exiting the room and closed the door behind her with a wave. As soon as her footsteps grew distant, Zade threw the album aside and groaned. Aren't you going to laugh? Quinn shrugged at him. Why? It's nice to know you have such a soft side to you. If it weren't for the pictures, I wouldn't have believed a word your mother said. You really were a cutie. How come you're so masculine and beastly now? Zade took a seat beside her. Quit saying I'm cute and it's called growing up. I'm no longer that kid with the chubby cheeks Marcia loved to squeeze. I'm a monster now. I rip out people's heart. You're a cute monster though. Zade harmlessly glared over at her. Quinn, he warned. What? I just said you're a cute monster before she could finish. Zade was on top of her, caging her hands above her head. I dare you to say it one more time, Quinn. Quinn laughed. You were cute. I swear to God, Quinn, what are you going to do? Zade smirked. I'm going to make you faint in this shirt. Why does it seem to look better on you than me? I don't know. Quinn frowned as her cheeks became rosy. She'd forgotten she had on his clothes. She'd forgotten just how embarrassing she looked. I don't know, so get off. I won't call you cute anymore. Why not? He leaned towards her ears. Are you not up for it? You can even ride me like you did last night. Quinn wrung her hands, trying to escape his grasp, but he only held onto her tighter. It won't even be a repercussion, after all, it'll only make you feel good. Suddenly she regretted teasing him, for now it was his turn to tease her. Come on, Zade, get off, apologize first, say I'm sorry, Mr. Heartless Beast. What? That's even more embarrassing than calling you cute. That's why you shouldn't have said it. His lips trailed kisses from beneath her ear to her neck, then he lapped at his mark. Aren't you going to apologize? God no, I'm not saying that. I guess I'll be you senseless then. He forced both her hands beneath just one of his, grasping tight and unrelenting to her wrists, and with his now free hand, he lifted the shirt, playing with the waistband of his shorts. I'll give you just 1 second to change your mind. Quinn twisted away from him, clamping her thighs shut. 1. Time's up. His hand slid past the loose girdle and Quinn clamped her eyes shut. Please don't, there, your cum is, stop. Zade looked down at her trembling form, smirking in amusement. What? It's leaking? That's why you should have apologized. I'm sorry. You're sorry what? I'm sorry, Mr. H. Heartless Beast. Her cheeks flushed even redder as she said it, her lips stammering over the words. Zade's hand snaked out of the shorts immediately and he rolled off her with a chuckle. Well, that was fun, fun. Quinn glowered at him. You are wicked. How so? I was only messing around, and you started it. He gestured towards the tray of food on the bedside table. Would you like to eat first or let me numb you in the shower? I prefer none. I'm going to my room. She got up to walk away, but Zade grabbed her hand. Like that? I know you're horny. He laughed. Shut up. All right, I'll stop teasing you. I won't risk you getting frustrated enough to not spend the rest of your day with me. But before I stop, one last thing, do you really not want me senseless? That's it, I'm leaving. Let go of me. Zade laughed again. I'm kidding, stay with me. Gio glared at Delilah as she walked into the bedroom. I thought I told you to sleep in the living room. It's cold and empty, I've slept in the living room for 2 days now, I miss you. You don't have the right to miss me. Get out. Gio, it's Alpha Jeovanni to you. You don't get to call me what she does. Delilah blinked as tears filled her eyes, her arms hugging around herself. She's gone, and I'm here for you. I'm carrying your child, Gio, love me. Yeah, you're carrying my child, that's the only reason why you're alive. I don't know what I saw in you. You've always been conniving, I could see the trouble in your eyes, but I ignored it. I thought I loved you? No, I believed I did, but I was just caught up in an illusion, confusing love and attraction. He sighed. But what exactly was I attracted to? Quinn had always been prettier, nicer, sweeter. You're the one who came onto me, you're the one who ruined my life. Get out. Delilah flinched at the harshness in his voice, staggering back. Please Gio, stop treating me like this. I love you. And I don't love you, so get out. No, I want you to love me, try. She stepped inside reluctant, scared but pretending to be brave. I have your mark, I'm carrying your baby, if you try, you can love me. Gio, you barely touch me anymore, you haven't kissed me, haven't hugged me, I feel abandoned. Stop this now, please. Gio's eyes twitched as she stopped in front of him, resting her forehead against his chest. I'm wrong, forgive me just this once, please. No, Gio stepped back, pushing her from against him. Stop acting like a saint, stop pretending. Gio looked at the door when someone banged it loudly. Cannon, it was his scent. Come in. The door slammed open, and Cannon rushed inside, breathing hard. The farm, it is being burnt down. What? Who? Was it one of the pack members who mistakenly made a fire? No, it's the Gamma and the Beta of the Alpha King's pack. They've knocked down our patrollers and even some of the farmers and then burned the farm. They also left a dead crow at the edge of our borders, signalizing the end of our alliance. Gio ran his hand down his face, shoving Delilah aside. If Quinn was here, if Quinn were here, she'd have at least defended our borders. How did they take down all the patrol warriors? Is anybody dead? No, they didn't kill anybody. That doesn't seem to be their aim since they've already left. The farmers and the warriors are trying to extinguish the fire, but they used gasoline, it just keeps spreading. The wind is strong as well, the fire might spread past the farm. Gio groaned, walking past him. Come on, I've got to do something about this. He ran his way outside and Cannon followed him, both speeding towards the big fire towards the west of the land. When they got there, the farm was almost burnt to the ground. The whole field was black and what was left of it was being burned rapidly. Gio took a deep breath, pointing towards the farmers. Instead of putting out what the fire already burnt, try stopping it from burning more. Throw the water in the direction the fire is going. The pack members got to work, and though he gave them the orders, he couldn't move to help. He just stood there, watching as the flames blinked emotionlessly at him. It was so bright, reaching for the sky and burning away what it took him years to build. He'd known the Alpha King wouldn't have just stood back after what he did. He knew he'd seek revenge, but Geo never guessed revenge would come in such a wicked form. That man was too malicious and cruel. He'd taken Quinn away from him, and now he'd even taken more. His pack wasn't rich. He doubted he could afford food to serve them for a week. What would he do? Which pack would stretch out a hand to help him? Clenching his hands and his jaws, he walked towards the borders, scenting out and finding the dead bird. He stooped in front of it. He shouldn't have hurt Quinn, his love life wouldn't have been ruined, and he'd still have the Alpha King on his side. Now, he had nobody to turn to, and his pride wouldn't allow him to ask the person who did this to him for help. He needed Quinn, she was his strength. If she were here, then she'd be able to tell him what to do. But alas, he'd destroyed her, and she'd destroyed him, and he regretted it all. It's been 2 days since the farm was entirely burnt down, that along with the small building the farmers usually slept in. He'd tried to get help, reached out to 3 different packs who instantly declined. He was down to just 1 pack now, the Woodland pack. If they neglected to help him, then he was utterly doomed. Picking up his pen, he started yet another letter. He tried to make it sound as sincere as possible and even promised to help them in the long run if anything were to happen. But yet again, he was told the funds are only sufficient enough to feed their pack. The food was running out, the only thing they had enough of was meat, and that was because they could hunt it, but what in heaven's name would they eat with the meat 2 days from now? Why did you want to come here? Well, I figured that since I have no wolf, then it's best to improve my combat skills. I haven't trained in so long, I never really thought of strengthening the skills associated with my human side, so I'm not good at hand-to-hand combat, and right now, I need to be. I see, I won't stop you, it's your choice, but I'd suggest you start from rank 1. Although even if you start at rank 3, these stupids will still go easy on you. Why? Zade chuckled. You have my mark on your neck, Quinn. Though you haven't been officially introduced to the pack yet, they know who you are. Which one of them is foolish enough to hurt my woman? Even if it's practical training, and moreover, they know you have no wolf. Yeah, well, I don't want that. I prefer they beat me cripple than go easy on me, and if it's something as petty as pity, I'll let them know that I don't want it. It's not pity, Quinn, then what would you call it? Quinn twisted away from the training wolves to look at Zade. Anyone would pity me. I'm probably one of the only wolves without a wolf. That doesn't mean they necessarily pity you, and even if they do, it's inevitable. Then do you pity me too? Be honest. Zade shrugged. A little. I also feel guilty, I still feel like it's my fault. But it's not, you know that, right? Even if you say so, I'll still feel remorseful. I should have been there. I should have saved you. Quinn shook her head. No, back then I was more than capable of saving myself, it's now that I need your help. What time does training end? When can I come here and find the field empty? Most likely in the late night. There's no specific time for training, the training grounds are never closed, so wolves train whenever they want. However, it is possible to find it empty at night, since that's when most people sleep. Then tonight, Quinn told him. I'll come back here tonight to train. Do you want me to accompany you? No, not yet, I need a couple of sessions by myself first. All right, I'll give you the space you need tonight, I hope it goes well. Quinn nodded, glancing down at her hands. Me too. Are you going to stay and watch, or do you want to go somewhere else? Where? Well, Isabella likes you. She's been in malice with me since the night I came because I didn't give her permission to take you to the hospital. I told you that your words and actions towards her were too harsh. This is normal, Isabella is spoiled, she sulks whenever she doesn't get what she wants. But still, she's a girl and an omega at that, as her brother, you should be nice to her. But I am nice to her. So telling her you'll shove a tree limb down her throat is being nice to her. Well, that's nice enough. Quinn laughed, shaking her head. Be nice to her for real, Zade, you never know when you might lose her, I mean, I never once thought I'd lose mine. Let's not even talk about that redhead viper, she's a snake, one I should have stepped on. She indeed is a snake, anyway, were you suggesting we go see Isabella? Yes, then, shall we? Quinn started off away from the training grounds, and Zade followed her. I haven't properly met your father as yet. I barely know his name. His name is Nicholas, but we call him Nick. He's a tormented old man, just like his mate. Don't tell me you're still angry at your mom for showing me the photo album. I am. You saw me without teeth and clothes as a baby, and then you saw me rocking a mohawk like the guys in the 80s. Quinn laughed. Come on, I told you it was cute. You know it wasn't. It was awful, I don't know what demon inside my head coerced me to trim my hair like that. No, it was, your hair was a bit too tall and spiky, but the haircut suited you. I wouldn't lie about that. That's from your perspective, from mine, I looked like a warrior from the Mohawk Valley. What even is a Mohawk Valley? Never mind, just pretend I didn't say that. Silence sauntered along with them as they walked to the pack house, entering the east wing. Isabella's room is 3 doors away from mine. I didn't want that brat too close to me. Zade, Quinn pointed at him. I meant princess, you know, those beautiful dolls. We both know that wasn't what you meant, you're awful, Zade grinned. I know. He stopped in front of a door on the left side of the hall, pushing it open without even knocking. Inside was Isabella and a boy Quinn had never seen before. They both had headphones over their heads and holding controllers in their hands, things Quinn had only seen but never had the thought to touch. Isabella glared at her brother, ripping the headphones from over her head. You could have knocked. If I did, would you have heard? I came to see what you were up to, me and Quinn. She sighed, placing the controller down and glancing at Quinn. Quinn waved awkwardly. Hi, hello, are you better now? I am, your brother took me to the hospital that night. The same brother I want to send to the hospital. Zade scoffed at her. The day you put me in a hospital is the day you find yourself in the afterlife. All mouth talk, but my words won't just stay as mere words if you don't quit walking in here unannounced. Is that what you're angry about? I should be the one angry. I told you to stop inviting Josh into your room. You're a girl and he's a boy. Technically, we're both girls. Josh, the boy sitting beside her, glared at her. Did you just call me a girl? Aren't you? You lose matches and then whine like a girl all the time. That doesn't, hush, Josh, let me deal with the troublemaker. Zade stepped further into the room, leaving Quinn behind to silently watch their bickering. You think you're so good at your stupid game, aren't you? You have the biggest mouth when you lose too, so stop bullying Frederick's little brother. You know Frederick will kick you when he gets back. Only Frederick can kick my ass, why don't you try again? You were acting like a girl last time when you lost too, you little. Zade palmed her face, shoving her off the bed. Game on, Quinn's on my team. Were you up? Quinn raised an eyebrow. I don't specifically know how to play these games. You'll learn, come on. Quinn looked between him and Isabella, both siblings glaring dangerously at each other. She told Zade to be nice, if he'd done that, then probably this wouldn't be happening. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.